Hello everybody, welcome to the Facebook Live. Say hello if you are watching, please. See a couple of you guys on already. Hey Steph, g'day Mel, g'day Isla. How are we all doing on this very brisk Sunday afternoon? Definitely winter time. I've had my jumper on here all day. We're going to give it a little bit more time here while we allow the millions and millions of our followers to come on and watch. So make sure you say hi if you are watching. We are going to be covering a little bit more about the training side of things today. Obviously, we are 2 weeks into our new gym program that you guys have either started with us out at Cardiff, or if you're watching from Adamstown, you have picked up again since we have had some time off here in the last few months. So I just wanted to explore a few more of those questions that some of you may have in regards to training, in regards to the sessions, in regards to programming, and just do a little more of a deep dive into the training side of things from what you may have experienced here the first couple of weeks back, but also just a little more on some of the principles that we are following, as well as a little more on what to expect here moving forward as well. So we will hopefully be covering quite a bit here today, and hopefully you can take a little bit away from it. So like I mentioned there at the start, say g'day if you are watching. I've got my iPad next to me here so I can watch that too. Hey, hello Isla, how are you doing? I saw that Tony made it in yesterday morning. I'm sure he, like the rest of us, was pretty exhausted afterwards. He might not have had much energy left in the tank to do much housework around for you guys. But great to have him in, and great to have you back doing some training. G'day Pete, how are you? We got Emma on. Hello Emma. Got Nelly watching here as well. G'day Nelly. I'm sure you were upset like I was yesterday after that night's first half. It was a little bit too late in the second half to try to come back after that first 40 minutes. That was pretty deplorable, but some promising signs in the second half, I guess you could say. All right, I'm going to give it another minute or two here, everyone, and if you missed it early on, we are going to be talking a little more about training here today. So we are going to be talking a little more about what we do in sessions and why we do what we do in sessions. For a lot of you guys who are starting out with us at Cardiff over the last fortnight, it is a very new style of training for a lot of you guys. So just wanted to speak a little more about some of the specifics in regards to that. For some of you, you may have done some training like this in the past. If you are watching from Adamstown, if you're one of our Adamstown members, then there's a good chance you've been doing this type of training for a little while prior to our lockdown in COVID. So also you might be able to learn just a few things about why it is that we do what we do. And there is a lot more to it than just walking up to the whiteboard and writing a bunch of exercises and a bunch of numbers next to it. There is some method to the madness. Believe it or not, I don't just try to see how I can make you hate me after every session, especially with those ones that have a lot of bike in it. So just wanted to talk a little more about that one there. Hey, Diana. Hello, Brenna. Can Smiley make an appearance? Well, I'm in my study room here, so this is probably the one room in the house that she's not allowed. It's the only one without dog hair in it, so no appearance from Smiley tonight. If you just hop off here and don't even want to watch it anymore. I know that she is a star of the show normally. Oh, Brodie's on. Hey, Brodie. How are you this afternoon? Kirsten. Hey, Kirsten. Oh, Tony's on now. I just said he might not have enough energy to have done any housework yesterday, but he mentioned he's got plenty of energy. Isla has you well trained. That is great to hear, because if it was getting to the point where you were coming in and training and you couldn't be a good domesticated husband there on the weekend, then we might have to revisit if you should be training with us, because first and foremost, you need to keep the wife happy. So glad to hear it. Okie dokie. So for you guys listening, we might just start to uncover some more of this information that I'm wanting to talk about today. And the headline of this video, and one of the main questions that I am wanting to talk about, is in regards to how many calories that you should be expecting to burn through a session. Now, I'm going to start that question by asking who here or who watching has a fitness wearable. So when I say fitness wearable, I mean a watch or something that does track your performance. So it could be a Fitbit or a Garmin, or I think there's a Polar. There's a few other brands that are out there as well. I myself have a Whoop band. You can kind of see that one. So it's not actually a watch, but it does track all of my data in regards to my workouts, in regards to my sleep, in regards to my recovery, in regards to my strain or my stress that I have each day. So if you do have one of these wearables, can you please comment below which one it is, because that's going to be part of this first conversation here that I'm going to be talking to you guys about, because the question that I want to answer is how many calories should you be burning throughout a workout? Now, it is a bit of a trick question because there is no, definitive amount of calories that you should be burning per hour or per session or per minute. And to be quite honest, it is a question that, a topic that does irritate me a little bit, because if you are dictating how good a session is based off how many calories you burn, then you are really looking at training and exercise the wrong way. So let me just explain that again. So if you are dictating how good a session is and how good your exercise program is based off how many calories that you are burning through any given session or any given week, then you are looking at training and exercise the wrong way. So I will elaborate on that. And first and foremost, if you are just wanting to come in and burn a lot of calories and that is all that you are worried about, then you are better off jumping outside with a skipping rope and skipping for 45 minutes. And the reason that I say that is because skipping has been proven to yield the highest amount of calorie burn compared to any other exercise, whether it be bike, whether it be running, whether it be burpees, whether it be any sort of weight training. But there is much more to training and much more to exercise than just how many calories you burn. So if you were wanting just to burn as many calories as possible, you went and skipped for 45 minutes. For starters, that would be awfully boring. And I imagine that you'll get sick of that probably before that 45 minutes was up. But in conjunction with that, if you are doing that same modality day in, day out, you are going to end up with overuse injuries. You're going to be ending up with overuse muscles in your calves. Your feet will probably start to hurt. You'll end up with probably some creaky wrists from the twisting motion that skipping brings. Jumping up and down for 45 minutes can be a bit hard on the bladder as well. and anyone with bad knees or bad ankles or bad back, it will be a little bit too much impact for someone like yourself. So the purpose for my answer, that is, if you're just solely looking for how many calories you're burning, you're looking at training and exercise the wrong way. So I think when it comes to our method of training, it does have a combination of weight training and it does have a combination of cardio or conditioning as well. So typically your weight training is going to be slower, your heart rate is going to be lower, and you're going to be focused more on building strength, building lean muscle, and getting stronger. Okay, so that isn't necessarily going to be something that burns a lot of calories. But in saying that, that doesn't also mean that it is not beneficial for someone who is looking to lose body fat. Okay, because we have spoken about this many times before, and I'm not going to go too far down this road here, but having more lean muscle on our body, having more lean tissue is going to lend itself to you being able to eat more food and sustain a higher level of activity, as opposed to if you're just simply searching for something that does burn a lot of calories, normally through something that is purely cardio. Okay, so us, if we do, let's say, for convenience sake, we have half our session, which is more of a warm-up and your weight training, and then the second half is your cardio and conditioning and cool down. You may only be doing 15 to 20 minutes of cardio out of that 45 minutes. Now, if you were doing 40 or 45 minutes of just cardio or conditioning, then you would burn more calories. That is obvious. But you need to look back at what it is that you're trying to achieve through your training. Now, if you are coming and just looking to burn as many calories as possible, then to be honest, our program's not for you. Go grab a skipping rope, $10 from Kmart, and go and skip outside for 4 or 5 times a week, 45 minutes at a time, and you'll burn a ton of calories. But you will end up with injuries, you'll end up bored, and I dare say after maybe 1 or 2 or a few times doing that, you'll get sick of it and you won't do it at all. So we need to have a mixture of both. Okay, a lot of our work is based around core work. Now, that burns little to no calories. However, you'll be flat out to find anyone that will say that that's not beneficial for you. So, purpose of this conversation is don't just look at how many calories that you are burning and then make a decision if that's a good session or a bad session, or if you should have pushed harder or not. The way that I design programs, there are some days that we are pushing really hard, that we have high intensity, and they have different time domains. So, for instance, anyone who came to our session yesterday, Saturday, it was a long, hard workout. It was pretty much all cardio. We had some rest breaks in there, but it was, I think, probably 30 to 35 minutes of actual movement, and you would have burnt a lot of calories. Compare that to Friday's session. There was some more weight training in that. What did we do Friday? We did some bent over rows on the barbell. We did some farmer carries. We did some body weight work. Wouldn't have burnt as many calories as Saturday. Does that mean it was a worse session? No. Does that mean that it was different? Yes. Friday was more focused on strength. It was more focused on our core work. Doing farmer carries is very, very good movement, very good exercise for our core. We did a lot of body weight work. It is important for our bodies to be able to handle our body in different positions. And then we also had a barbell movement which focused on strength. So wouldn't have burnt as many calories, wasn't something that was long and grueling. I think most of us got that done between about 10 and 15 minutes, as opposed to yesterday that was between 30 and maybe 40 minutes of movement. So long story short, every session is different. Every session has a purpose. Not every session that I design is written up so you are able to burn as many calories as possible compared to the day before or the session after. Everyone is different. Some are longer, some are shorter, some are more strength focused, some are more cardio focused, some have more body weight movements, some have more weights, some of them have more core work. You get the picture. Everyone is different. There is a time and place for high intensity exercise, which is what Saturday was. And from memory, that's what Thursday was as well, when we did our rowing and we did some bike and we did some skipping as well, I believe. However, Friday was completely different. Wednesday would have been different again. And that is part of my goal is to make sure that you guys are staying motivated through a variety of different types of sessions. You get a good mix of strength training, you get a good mix of your cardio, you get a good mixture of longer workouts, shorter workouts, core workouts. We're trying to be well-rounded with what you guys do, so you are able to avoid injury. That is probably the main reason. If we do the same thing too often, you're going to end up with overuse injuries. So getting a wide range of movements is going to be helpful with that. It helps keep you motivated because you're not doing the same thing day in, day out. You know, if you are someone who goes to a commercial gym and you go on the treadmill or the elliptical every day, it is only a matter of time before you stop, before you run into boredom, but also into some overuse injuries as well. That's why there are so many runners that end up with shin splints and other injuries, because that is all they do and they don't take the time to incorporate some strength training, mobility training, other things that are going to be helpful with their running. And we need to remember as well that we are in this for the long haul. We're not looking at just day by day and thinking how many calories can we burn today, and that being the main aim. We are looking at a well-rounded program that we want you guys to be doing ongoing, which has a good combination of strength training, conditioning, mobility, stretching, core work, longer workouts, short workouts, so you are well-rounded. Okay, so if you have any questions about that, you can ask that below, but I feel as though that for a lot of us that do have these fitness wearables, so a Fitbit or a Garmin or something similar, it is very easy to obsess over how many calories you burn in a session. And for anyone who tracks that and tracks their step count and things like that, it can become a bit obsessive. And the reason I say that is because I've been there before as well. I have one now, and I've had a Garmin in the past, and I still do track it quite closely, but right now I track it more for recovery and sleep reasons, not from my activity reasons. I know that if I continuously train and I am consistent with my approach week in and week out, I'm going to see progress. I'm not too worried about how much I do on any given day, because I know that for me to continue to get fitter, continue to get stronger, it does take a well-balanced approach, and sometimes taking a bit of a step back with intensity is going to be most important for me to make sure I stay out of injury, I stay healthy, and I can continue to train the way that I want. And I encourage you guys to have that same mindset. Okay, so I am now 30. I've never had any serious injuries. I've always been very mindful of how I train. I train regularly, but I know when to take the foot off the gas. I know when to put my foot down. And from what I've learnt with my own training and the intensity that I train at, I am now portraying in the program that I have for you guys, because I know that if we are injured or we are run down, then we aren't going to be able to train at all, and that is not what we are wanting from you guys, okay? So I hope that answers it. If you got any questions, ask below. So I covered a few of the other questions that I had in this as well. I'll just go through the comments here briefly. Mel Harrison, I've got a Fitbit, but I don't use it, and I probably should. So my advice for that, Mel, is it is a cool little thing to be able to track, and if it helps people train more consistently, I encourage it, but I would encourage you to use it for the sleep part as well. Ever since I've started tracking my sleep a lot more closely, my sleep has significantly improved because I have more of an emphasis on getting to bed earlier, and I feel as though that's made some huge changes in how much I sleep and how my recovery is. So I'm sure that it is something that you can track, your sleep with, so I encourage you to do that. And there's an old saying that what you track tends to improve. So just the mere fact of you looking at that more regularly will probably be something that will improve for you. And maybe some of those nights you end up watching telly till 10:30 or 11 o'clock, you might just end up pulling up stumps a little bit earlier and getting in bed, maybe 9:30 or 10, and that will make the world of difference the next day. Jamie's on. G'day, Jamie. Nice to see you. It's been a few hours. Diana, Saturday was a killer. It was good. Yes, it was a killer. But that's the thing. If you did that every single day, a workout like Saturdays, I mean, for starters, I don't know who would want to keep turning up to really tough sessions like that one, but I feel as though you would quite quickly burn out, especially people who are training 3, 4, 5 times a week. If you are doing too much high intensity exercise, you can end up burning yourself out. That's why we like to have a mixture of the stimulus that we have for you guys. Melanie, good advice, thank you. No problem. So I guess I touched on it earlier, and this is something that I'll just talk about briefly before I head off, but the difference between strength training and conditioning. So strength training is more your, like I said, your slower type of training with your weights, where we're not worried as much about how fast we are doing it. We are more worried about our form and technique and using the right muscle groups and the targeted muscles and getting the desired stimulus from that. Whereas conditioning or cardio work is more designed on improving your fitness and is often done sort of at the speed as quickly as you can, as long as it is safe to do so. So they really are at polar ends of the spectrum, where strength training, we want to be slow, we want to be deliberate with the muscles we're using, we want to be deliberate with the form and technique we're using as well. Obviously, it's something that we do spend a lot of time now with you guys on, now that we are using the barbell. It is very easy to get yourself into some dangerous and unsafe positions, and it is our job and our duty of care to keep you safe. But on top of that as well, if you are using it incorrectly, you're not going to get the desired response from that exercise or that movement. So we are wanting to slow things down, make sure we're doing everything the right way. We are not worried about speed, because remember, this wants to be slow and deliberate. The speed and the fast stuff and the high intensity work typically comes in your cardio style of training. That would be your main difference, and now we have made normally a pretty clear separation between the two. So we have our strength training at one component, our conditioning training at another component, and we feel as though that is the best way for you to get stronger and fitter. There is no need to merge the two. So we like to keep them separate. And the other thing as well, you are going to get fitter from lifting weights. Your heart is going to be elevated, is going to be a different type of fitness than what you get from doing conditioning or cardio. And you will get stronger from doing our conditioning and cardio work. We do have some weights that we use for that. We use kettlebells, dumbbells, we use the bike, we do body weight. You are getting stronger. However, that is not the main focus. That is a byproduct of what we do. So although we keep them separate, you do get carryover effect from both. So if you are new to strength training, a lot of this will be, new knowledge for you, stuff that you may not have done before. If you have done bits and pieces of it before, then, you may have gone down this route a little bit at the gym, but we feel as though that providing coaching and providing help each session is going to be most beneficial for you guys to stay safe, to also get as much out of each session as you can. And that applies to, obviously, when we're doing barbells or anything more complex. In regards to conditioning and the cardio side of things, we have different time domains for each workout. Some of them are longer, which taps more into the endurance side of things. So like, we're looking at on Saturday, that was more like a 30 to 40 minute workout, whereas there are some other ones that are hard and fast. They're 10 or 12 minutes and you're one and done, and they're ones that obviously you can increase that intensity a little bit at as well. So every session is different. We want you guys to be well-rounded. We feel as though that is the best way for you guys to stay motivated. And so you don't know, what is coming. We feel as though if you knew what was coming every single day, it may be enough to deter you. Your motivation might start to wane a little bit, but also to avoid any overuse injuries. If you're doing the same thing too often, overuse of certain muscles and certain movements and certain movement patterns can end up lending itself to injury, and when we're injured, we aren't able to train at all. So that's the long and short of it here. I just wanted to touch on a few of those things In summary, if you've got a fitness wearable, so watch a Fitbit or a Garmin, or like me, a Whoop band, most of them do give you the ability to track workouts. You click when you start. At the end of it, it shows how many calories you burnt, how high your heart rate got, etc. My advice would be that is purely something just for curiosity. I wouldn't want you guys to be judging your performance or workouts based off how many calories you burnt, because if that's what you're after, then go grab a skipping rope and skip for 45 minutes, because that's going to burn more calories than anything we could do inside, as that has been proven by science. So use it as something, for a curiosity standpoint. I would encourage you to use it more from your recovery and sleep standpoint. So if you're someone like me and have a bit of an interest in improving your sleep, this has been really great for me. My Whoop band gives me the ability to track how much sleep I've had each night. It shows how recovered I am, shows when I maybe need to have a rest day, when I need to take pedal off the gas a little more, or when I am well rested and well recovered and can train a little harder. So that is what I like about it. However, I wouldn't read too much into calories burned, because like I said, the way to burn the most calories possible is to go and skip for 40 or 5 minutes, which sounds awfully boring to me and not something that's really motivating. So if you have any more questions about fitness wearables or about the training that I've just covered there with strength and conditioning, or about anything to do with calories burnt or about sleep and recovery, put a comment below or send us a message and I'm happy to help. So thanks for watching today, guys. Hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll talk to you guys again soon.